At 3.5, over under 3.5 wins is Mississippi State.
Yeah, I think 2 years in a row they've been around that number. I can't remember exactly where it was on the books, but that's just where State is right now in the pecking order. And I mean, when you flip the schedule and it's virtually the exact same schedule as last year, it's hard to blame the bettors for putting this out, or for the sports books for putting this out, because State is playing virtually the exact same schedule, with the exception of, I think, Northern Illinois. And you're playing now. Arizona State is a college football playoff team from last season.
Who returns their quarterback.
They do return their quarterback. So it's hard for people on the outside to be super optimistic about Mississippi State right now. So it's hard to really argue that number.
You guys know the schedule, but just going through it quickly. Obviously, opening the season in Hattiesburg at Southern Miss. Arizona State at home in Week 2, followed by Alcorn and NIU and Tennessee. 4 straight home games for Mississippi State. Again, Arizona State, Alcorn, NIU, and Tennessee, who will be a preseason top 10-ish team. Then they go to Texas A&M, who will be a preseason ranked team. I don't really know exactly where they'll fall, but they'll be ranked, I assume. Then they're off. Then they go to Florida. They host Texas, go to Arkansas, host Georgia, go to Missouri. What a stretch of a schedule that is. I mean, I know Arkansas is not going to be particularly good, and we'll tell you the over-under totals in a second for Florida as well. The books don't particularly like the Gators either, but man, the Swamp hosting Texas, who will be preseason top 10, Fayetteville hosting Georgia, who will be preseason top 10, and then Columbia, Missouri, who will be ranked in the preseason, is a brutal stretch of games.
Brutal. And people ask me all the time, what do you think about the football team this year? How are they going to be? And my answer is the exact same to every person, that I think they will be improved. I think they will be a better team, top to bottom. I think they'll be better. But better could be 4 wins. It really could. I mean, that's just the gist of it. State did not get any favors with the league when you look at the schedule the last 2 years, and it just came at a very bad time for them. So defense could be infinitely better. Offense could even be better as well, and you could still be staring down 4 or 5 wins. That's the reality of the situation with the schedule that you have. But, Brian and I talk about all the time that this could this be the year that we thought last year could be for Mississippi State? Could they be a 5 or 6 win team that has a chance to win some big games, maybe come up short, but they take a really good team to the wire? We thought that would be last year's team. It was not. Could that be this year's team, where they're not just absolutely atrocious on defense, but they're just not good? Maybe they're in the top 90 of total defenses. I think that could make this team respectable. That's kind of what you're looking at with Mississippi State heading into year 2 with Jeff Lebby.
It's a loaded question because you haven't seen them play yet, and I mean, you're only allowed to watch them stretch at spring practice. But what is the lowest acceptable result for this season?
I think that 4 wins is probably the lowest you could be willing to go, and you really need to win an SEC game. I feel like, I don't think you can go back-to-back seasons without an SEC win. That's not a good selling point for Jeff Lebby. But a lot of it is beyond just the wins and losses. This team needs to look more competitive. And the crazy thing is, they covered the spread in most of those games. There was an outrageous spread against teams like Georgia and Texas and Tennessee, but in a lot of these games where State was picked to lose by 3 or 4 touchdowns, they actually made it respectable. I think you need to see that more often for the Bulldogs this year, and you don't need to lose to teams like they did to Toledo last year by 3 touchdowns.